No, you were
couldn't
not
find
right,
him before
and
the
I was
election.
not wrong, and that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who
You want to
won?
make your
You
point,
live
make your
in a
point.
total
Don't make
world
it
of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah.
Well, the fallout from Donald Trump's massive election victory over the Democrats continues, and yeah, there's been lots of gnashing of teeth and wailing all over the internet. So today we're looking at Piers Morgan. He's got a lineup of people who are discussing what happened. You know, the Democrats, the libtards, the leftists are all trying to do postmortems. And different people taking different approaches. And this guy, well, here we can see we have Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks. He's talking to Alan Lichtman, who is a noted predictor of elections. He's got a system he calls the keys. And if I understand correctly, he's been very successful over many elections in correctly predicting the outcomes. But this time, he predicted wrong. He said Kamala was going to win. And from what I've seen, I'm no expert on this guy, but from what I've read on the internet, most people think that his keys system actually works just fine, but that he has such a bad case of Trump derangement syndrome that he didn't interpret his own keys correctly. That's what I've been seeing. If you know about it, let me know in the comments, and let's get back to this video.
Was actually a Democrat president, Obama, by a long way, by the way. So this idea of like disinformation, I think some of it was disinformation, but it's, you know, I think the idea that this election was only won through right-wing disinformation, I'm afraid, I view that as a total delusion by the Democrats. Again.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm sorry, but I totally disagree with Juan and Professor Lichtman. Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but Juan, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
couldn't
not
find
right,
him
and
before
I
the
was
election.
not wrong, and that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who won?
You want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in a
point.
total
Don't make it
world of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so quiet with your personal attacks.
Yeah, come find out again.
Make whatever point you want. Don't make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published? No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for personal
brother, you got it wrong.
Say whatever you want.
You were preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just finish a goddamn thought ever on this show?
No, not if you're personally I admitted I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say, it's great to see you Democrats all getting along so well.
Who taught you manners?
Sometimes I do like Piers Morgan. He's a laugh, even though he's a real, even though he's a bit of a twit a lot of the time.
It's lovely to see a post-election harmony as you all come together again.
We're just one right now. Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second? And let someone who knows what they're doing.
You're so right,
Piers.
You're
so right.
We're
so unified right now.
You want. I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that.
Blasphemy against me? Okay, Professor. I don't think when you talk shit about someone, it's called blasphemy. When you talk shit about God or Jesus or another great religious figure, then we can talk about blasphemy, but I don't think that's you.
Blasphemy against you? What the hell are you? Are you Jesus Christ, you loser? Okay, can I just give the correct answer for once? Okay, here we go. So, guys, you're blaming disinformation. There was disinformation. There was the cats and the dogs nonsense. The points you're making about undocumented immigrants, I agree with, Alan, okay? But that didn't cost the election. The main disinformation was about how the election was going to be rigged. And it wasn't rigged. It was dumb. They won easily. There was no need for that disinformation. You guys are missing the whole point. The people who are at fault are not other people. It is the candidate, Kamala Harris, the previous candidate, Joe Biden, Democratic Party, Democratic leadership. You guys don't want to admit that they're the problem. They're the cancer in the Democratic Party. So you blindly lash out at the voters, at information, at social media, and you want to shut down anyone who disagrees with you. That's not the correct answer. There are three wings of the Democratic Party. There's the establishment wing that the great majority, almost everyone on television supports and kisses the ass of and does propaganda for. That wing has led to disaster. They lost to Donald Trump twice, nearly lost to him 3 times. And then the other wing is called the progressive wing, but those are two different sets of people. In the progressive, so-called progressive wing, what you have is the identitarian left, the people who do what the right wing would call woke politics and identity politics, and that is disastrous. That's what the trans ad was at the end, and it cost us. The most popular part of the Democratic Party is the populist left. That is the Bernie Sanders 2016 campaign. That part says, let's do super popular economic proposals like paid family leave, higher minimum wage, universal health care, public option. Let's do all of these things. And the establishment goes, no, our corporations don't want that. Our donors don't want that. So we'll just do identity politics. And maybe identity politics will unite the left. But it didn't. Identity politics led to disaster. It was a poison within the Democratic Party, used ironically by the establishment Democrats because they didn't want to talk about popular proposals that we have because their donors hate those proposals.
Okay.
Well, listen to Cenk Uygur laying down the law here. I have to admit, I pretty much agree with what he says, I think. Okay, there are 3 wings of the Democratic Party. Frankly, I don't really care what they are. I don't like any of them. But yeah, the establishment wing has got to go. Just like I think the establishment wing of the Republican Party has got to go. They are in the pockets of the corporations. They're in the pockets of special interests. The whole system is geared up to designed for legal bribery and legalized corruption, basically, in the form of lobbying and quid pro quo and donations, donors, and all that. Then what did he call it? He said there's the progressive wing, which is all the psychos, all the serious libtards, trans ideologists, ideologues, and all that. And then what he calls the populist wing with the Bernie Sanders types, who, probably have more in common with ordinary people. In fact, the populist wing is probably more, maybe, what traditional Democrats would have been like the Democrats of my parents' generation, so quite a while ago, actually. And the Democratic Party establishment has veered far, 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 far away from that populist type of, that populism that was popular. So, I can agree with Cenk Uygur on these things. Alan Lichtman just seems like he's can't even control himself. Yeah, Cenk was barely even doing a personal attack on him. He's just calling him dumb. This guy's melting down. I mean, come on, guy, get a grip.
During the virus and saying that we have to have infrastructure and building, that helped working people in this country. But a lot of lies were told about that history.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Professor, I know you've got to leave us, so you wanted to jump in there.
Yeah. First of all, let me add a quick fact. There was no massive switch of black voters to Donald Trump. Donald Trump got 13% of the black vote, 11% the last time. That's 2% of a very small segment of voters. So that's one of the big myths of this election. Second big myth is that hindsight is 20/20. We have a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks who, after the fact, are telling us what Harris should and should not have done. And half of them are saying she lost because she was too progressive. She was too open to the charge of being a radical, a socialist. The other half have said, of course, she lost because she wasn't progressive enough. We heard that from Cenk today. It's all sports talk radio without the entertainment. There is no way to know after the fact what she should or should not have done. If she had only done this or that, it would have made a difference. That's just hot air with absolutely no proof. The difference that I bring to the table is a track record of successful prediction based upon how American presidential elections have previously worked as pragmatic decision-making on whether or not the White House party has governed well enough. And then my analysis is based upon what's changed, what's shattered the pattern of 160 years of history. So I have a base for my analysis. I'm not just doing Monday morning quarterbacking. Cenk, you need to learn some manners. Your act is getting really thin.
I mean, brother, I said what was going to go wrong. It did go wrong. I was right. You were wrong in this election, spectacularly so, with your so-called keys. And now you come and tell us not the Monday morning
unlike you, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Are you ever going to learn the lessons?
Can I just ask? Hang on.
Wow, Cenk Uygur being a big old troll. Bit of a sense of humor. And yeah, Alan Lichtman. Yeah, I think it was actually pretty obvious well ahead of the election that Kamala Harris was going down the wrong, or that the whole Democratic Party, in fact, was going down the wrong track. Nobody had ever liked Kamala Harris. She never said anything during her campaign. She never did or said anything while she was serving as a VP during Biden's term, so far, and never said or did anything really during her campaign. She completely dropped the ball. She didn't go on popular podcasts like Joe Rogan, and who else was there? Theo Vaughn or something like Trump did. She's basically just not even a human. She's just another puppet. So Trump, regardless of what you think about him, he comes across as human. A guy who you can have a talk with, even if you disagree with everything he does, even if you hate the guy, even if you absolutely hate him, if you've got Trump derangement syndrome, like so many people, like everyone in my family, he does come across like a guy. Yeah, he's not an ordinary guy. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. We all know that. But he comes across as human, and Kamala Harris does not. And the party establishment do not either. We won't say anything about Joe Biden. He's just out of the picture now. But yeah, watching Cenk troll this guy is actually pretty funny. So good on you, Cenk. Credit where credit is due. If any of you out there have any comments on this, please let me know in the comments section. I'm always happy to see what you guys have to say. In the meantime, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.